Hello, everyone. Thursday. Welcome to Cafe Chonnye.
I brought a satchel.
Y'all know Chandra, everybody. Chandra's
Morning. I see we're in like the almost last day enthusiasm, which is very low.
Well, they've been going hard, you know. They've been burning holes in those drink packages, hanging out all night, you know, doing the most. I'm very proud of you all for being here this early in the morning. It is an endurance sport, so you do have to survive until at least 2 o'clock tonight. So pace yourself. Remember, 2 drinks, 1 water. That's the formula.
That's great. It's prom night. Anything can happen.
That's right. Prom night tonight, right here in this very space. It's going to be a good one. All right. So I hate to break you guys' hearts. This episode isn't really going to be focused on Love is Blind. We're not going to talk about that.
Spoiler.
Sorry.
Yeah. I guess that if you change the context,
kind of
leave now.
Maybe?
Yeah. I mean, anything can be broken down into the basics of Love is Blind.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the
Sidebar.
tropes.
How? That doesn't make sense.
Well, we're all like on the search for love and acceptance, right? And in comics, you know, that's all anybody really wants. We all have really, really old issues. Will and Ryan just wants love.
You know, I stand corrected. Love is Blind, Amory Wars, it all goes together. All right.
It's true. Guys, I'm really rough today, so I hope that you'll come on this journey with us.
Yeah, they're here.
realized,
Everybody's here, right?
The only clothes I have, I was like, I brought one pair of like practical sleeping pants, and they have like paint all over them. I don't know what's going on, so I'm glad we're here.
No one cares. Come on, no one. I mean, packing is overrated. You know, the more you travel, the more you realize you don't need stuff. Although you do need to pack like 8 pairs of underwear for like 4 days.
At least 20. We were just talking about like if we wear 70% of our outfits that we pack this week, it's a win.
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Let's go. Here we are. So the reason why we're here, No World for Tomorrow.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Everybody's been waiting for it. It's the latest, the final installment, or maybe question mark?
It's so No World is the final installment in the Amory Wars series. That is not to say that it is the final story in anything.
Right.
So I hope you took a lot from that.
No, that was perfect. I think that was the answer that a lot of people want to hear because there's so many I think characters in so many directions now that you can go in that it doesn't have to be just focused on that one place.
For sure. I mean, it follows. This will be the last installation that's following these characters. That's the Claudio character, and it's been a long time coming. So that's why we're here.
So are we? We're not going to give any spoilers. We're not going to do that, but let's do some tantalizing, right? What should we expect? Are we looking at like climactic tying up of loose ends or cliffhangers? I mean, what should we expect?
So obviously we're gonna pick up. You know, we ended the last series with the introduction of the creator. And splitting these two kind of timelines in the fiction and the real. If any of you have finished that, you know that we ended on a pretty big cliffhanger. And there's like the question of what happens next. Do we continue to see these two timelines? Is it the end of the creator timeline? And we're gonna answer those questions.
How are these questions gonna be answered? I mean, is it gonna? Because I feel like. Is it gonna be like maybe 2? Is this? All right, it's just you and me here. It's just you and me. Let's get right to it. Is this gonna be something where it's gonna be volume 1 and a volume 2 or something of this, where it's like, this we followed the timeline of the real. Here we followed the fiction.
No.
Okay. All right. See, that was painless.
I can tell you that. Yeah. No, this will be our standard, 12 issue maxi. Yes, it will be the traditional comic format we're not splitting into 2 separate series, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, because nothing really grinds my gears more than you're like, okay, yeah, great, everything's going good, and then all of a sudden, issue 6A, issue 6B, and it just starts splitting off.
I love that because it feels like, we're not doing that, but I do love that because I feel like if you love something, you want more of it, right?
True.
You want to be able to experience in like different lenses. We love obviously like different artists. It's so cool to see like the same idea conceptually be filtered through 10 different artists and covers. And honestly, this last tour, looking at all the prints, the posters that they were doing every night, it is incredible to me that you can have 30 completely different brains that create art that looks so incredible and so different.
Yeah, that's again, I think that's a testimony to the creative energy I think that you all put into everything that you're doing with this music. I think that sparks that vision for these artists out here. And again, you're recruiting a lot of people, I feel like, that are really committed, really passionate about delivering your vision, Claudio's vision, the right way. So I think that's what you're gonna see.
Well, I think Claudio is so good at honing in on like what his vision is. He knows, he has such an eye for the aesthetic, for the art, for the composition. He always says like, I'm not an artist, but he is, he's such an artist. And he's able to really, I'm not able to do that for me. I feel like I see in words, and he sees in like this cinematic landscape. So I think it's really cool when I'm like stumped on something and he can come in and really just be like, no, this is what it should look like. I'm gonna sketch it out. Here's a photo. I made I used my head and I put it in here and then here's this. And he just like bangs it out and it's, so I think that is helpful when you really know what you want and are able to articulate that to somebody, because that's a hard thing too. Like your, the way that you see it in your head, sometimes you can't really spell it out for people. Yeah. So I think having those tools helps. But yeah, I that's such a testament to, I think, the music, to his vision for the books. It's been really cool. It's been a really cool journey.
How has the process been, especially like this last time around, kind of being back, touring back on the road and everything? How have you and Claudio come together and really just had the time to get to this point, to really start wrapping your head around, okay, here we are, we're putting this 12 issue together and this is it?
Yeah, well, I think last time we were here, we told you that we had finished, I think at that point we finished the series. I think it was written or outlined or almost there. And it has been done now for this span of time. We'll get to that in a second. But so really for that series, all we've been working on is tightening it up. Yeah. So we have 12 issues that are done, and then you kind of step away for a minute and you can go back in and make sure that the threads are followed, you're tying everything up. Visually, it feels exciting. I really suck at action sequences, so sometimes we'll go over stuff together and be like, this could use a little like upping, or what does the language feel like? Is the dialogue good? And so there's a lot of like tweaking in that time. It's been a hard year to find the time to do that because they have been touring constantly, and also we're doing Daxis 3. We're doing lots of different stories at the moment. We also went to Europe for 2 weeks in February. I went there for a writing retreat to work on my own novel, which is separate from that. But it was 2 weeks of just time to kind of like nail down some things and go over outlines. So it's challenging when he's touring, especially when it's during the year and not the summer, because we can't go as much. Yeah. But we work really well on text, which is weird. He'll be like, here's the outline I worked on, like on his phone. It's like a 15-page outline. I'm like, we need to get you a computer with a word processor, But that's like
Notes app. Just use the Notes app.
Notes app.
Yeah,
Legit. That's how he will work. And And so that's just like we found our kind of stride in that, especially because as a parent, you know, your time isn't as consistent as you would like it to be. So it's easy for him to find the time between the sound check or whatever, and it's easier for me, you know, when I'm like shuttling my child around to be able to kind of flick through and work slowly instead of having a computer with you all the time. So, yeah, so that's kind of where we are.
So you said something really cool. So does Claudio provide you, like, when he has an idea, it's like, okay, here's what I picture, right? And he'll say, okay, for example, you remember this movie, it's kind of like this scene here, and then in this, you know, and he'll maybe put a reference to it, like click here for this link and you can go here. Yeah. Or remember this part of this book, it's like this, here's a link to it, look at this. And like, does he give you all those type of references also?
He does, and we really, we try to be really thorough with reference material. Yeah. You'll see in a little while when I have a surprise for you.
Ooh.
But, you know, it's like, you want to have, it is a dense mythology. So when you're working with artists and you're bringing them in, it's like, well, Willem Ryan does this. And they're like, okay, but give me some context. Right. What is he wearing? And then his outfit has changed 5 times. And so you have to be really specific about like flipping through, finding these things in the past. And we have so many amazing fans, and Cindy, who works for Evil Inc., who is able to be like, shit, I forgot, like, what does this look like? Can you find it? And so we're always just kind of pulling in and out of things. Fans who've composed Bibles, and because you just forget. There's a lot. There's like a lot in there. So that works. But yeah, Claudio always has some sort of like pop culture reference for what he wants. And we'll, you know, reference like, it's RoboCop, but not, it's this, but this. It's if you took this hat and then you put it on E.T., but then there were wings, you know, so it's constantly a thing. But I'm also like, that makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah, that sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so you also just said something really dope. All right, so because it's such a dense mythology, you have a lot of fans that have taken it and interpreted it, and do you use them to kind of keep you in check, sort of like as like maybe style guidelines, sort of where people will be like, well, you remember this happened, so it can't look like this, or he lost his eye, or you know what I mean? Do you crowdsource stuff sometimes?
Maybe crowdsource is the wrong word for
Group mind editorial?
I think there is a dialogue always open with the readership. It's always a conversation, you know, getting feedback from people. Even characters that maybe start off and you don't think they're going to be as integral a role, but people really relate to them or they love them. Like, you don't want to kill that person in the first issue. So you kind of hang, you know, you're like craft maybe
later,
a longer.
Issue 7.
Yeah, they're going to die, but not in the first issue.
There you go. Well, that's fair. That's safe.
But yeah, I think that that fans really hold you accountable, and they have an ownership, right? It's like this thing exists. I mean, you can write, as I said the other day. You can write. You can do whatever you want. No one can tell you no, but you can also be alone in that if you don't kind of respect the people who love what you do.
Yeah.
And so I think we have like a really beautiful relationship with our people, and it's just cool to be able to bounce ideas and, hey, what did you think of that? And that sucked, you know. So I respect that, and I think that's the way to keep something going.
What were their reactions? And feel free to chime in if you want to scream at me, it's fine. But what were the reactions of the appearance of the creator? What were the reactions of the defining of the real and the fiction? Like, what have you heard?
I mean, I think people saw it coming because that, you know, that's the other thing is like if you listen to the records, you can kind of anticipate, but sometimes it's completely off, you know, what your interpretation. And I think that's why Coheed is such an interesting band, because you know, the last few conventions we've done, we've had people come up. That Vaxis is their like first record, and they bought a box set or something at a convention, and we're like, oh, and then I listened to the music, and it's like, what is that experience like for you? Because if you don't know there's this concept, you know, if you do know there's a concept and you don't know there's a band, you're experiencing it so different, and you can kind of fill those blanks in for yourself, which works for better or for worse, because it's like you read a book and then you see the movie.
Yeah.
And you already have a kind of like picture in your head, you're playing that movie out, and now the actors are wrong. This scene looks like shit. You want to change everything. I think that's where it gets interesting. Is like, are you disappointed? Does it feel like what you envisioned?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think people are excited.
Yeah, I would think that would make me kind of excited as a creator also, to know that there are people that are so invested that, look, oh yeah, I've been listening and you did this wrong, you drew that wrong, or you wrote this character wrong. No, it shouldn't have been this way. Like, why did you do that? And you're like, I just made this up, number one. Why are you telling me what I just created is wrong? But tell me more. I'm interested in your feedback. So
yeah, I think that's important. And honestly, you know, so as I said, we were finished with this book. We've been finished with it for some time. And we were actually really actively into the artwork. We had chosen an artist who we were working with who's incredible. We got a few issues in, and it wasn't the right fit, if that makes sense. Like, he's an insanely talented artist, beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous work. But it felt like the expectation might be a different thing, right? And so that was definitely a moment where, like, the fan feedback, we don't want to go so like off the rails that it takes people out of this like linear journey they've been on. And so now we're kind of like starting over, which has been heartbreaking because it was a really nice relationship and everything looked so cool and it was so much fun seeing things come in. But we really want to be like true to that particular art type because we've changed artists so many times and we've had so much, you know, variation. So we're trying to streamline. But I would say, yeah, that was definitely a moment where we were as a team just kind of keeping everybody's expectations in mind.
Okay. So maybe since, and I don't know, again, I'm spitballing here, but will we see some variant covers maybe? Have some return of some older artists and everything?
You're going to see all the variant covers.
Okay. See?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And if you guys ever have suggestions, like shoot them over to Evil Link on Instagram. If there's artists you love, books you love, that you're like, I would love to see this take on it, like shoot it over, take a look.
See? They are listening, they're looking, talking to you. I don't know who you are, but this could be you. You could be on issue 12. You could be the cover. Well, I mean, maybe. Or unless it's done. Is it done?
I think it's possible.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's possible then. You heard it here. All right. Well, before we get too far, I don't know if you know this, but I want to congratulate you. You know your poetry book sold out.
That's what I heard. That's very exciting. It's really exciting. You know, I'm always like, well, maybe we'll sell one. I don't know. Like, it'll be okay. You just never know. But I'm so appreciative. I can't talk about it because we cried last time and we're not crying this time. But I really appreciate everybody's support. I love talking to everybody. I ran into so many people last night. I really appreciate it. And sharing your stories of like loss and grief and all the things. Like, it means a lot. Yeah.
Well,
and it will officially be out. We'll have a formal, release. It'll be available online, but we aren't really sure when that will happen. Probably November, so.
Wait a minute, hold on. So you're telling me that the people who own it right now are the only people who have it?
It's true. Yeah, you can't get it yet. We don't know when, so sell it on eBay.
Congratulations to all of you. There you go. Yeah, that's good. I like exclusive stuff. So yeah, that's great. I love that you did that and you made that this cruise, this event, the place where people could actually get to see something that you're so proud of, right?
Yeah.
And they can be a part of that journey with you. So
for sure. We didn't even see it. We didn't even get to see the book until it was here.
Oh wow.
Until like the first night on the boat. I was writing the team like, could I see the book? Do we have them? They're like, they're coming, they're gonna get there. And then we were all like, is it right? Let's make sure there's nothing. Oh, actually, here's a funny story. Uh-oh. This will be my last segue. But I got the book. I was so excited. We were watching we were watching Sunny Day out on the deck the first night, and I'm like, I opened it, I'm all a little intoxicated, super excited, and I take it out of the package, and I'm like, oh, that's so great. And then I put it like under my arm to hold it, and I'm dancing and whatever. And so the next day I looked at it, and the back has like no writing. And I was like, uh-oh. I thought like there was no writing on the back, that it printed that way, but it was under my armpit.
Oh wow, so you have a tattoo under your arm now. There you go.
Took all that gold leafing right off.
Oh wow. That's the part of the game they don't talk about in the ocean.
That's what, yeah. We product tested this thing hard this week.
Great. So perfect. There you go, everyone. Remember, do not hold it under your arm in 100% humidity. You'll be fine. The gold leaf will stay on there. All right. So now are you ready for a surprise?
I think I'm ready.
You ready for it?
I don't know if anybody else is ready. This is gonna be an interesting adventure.
Are you all ready? Well.
So we didn't want to, because we've disappointed you by having zero real news, we thought we would read the first issue.
There you go, just for you.
Because why not?
Exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna throw it all out there. But I actually have a second exciting piece of news. If any of you, do you guys watch Claudio's stream, anybody?
Yeah.
Well, I figured it would be a very boring 45 minutes for me to sit here and just go through every panel by myself and do the voices. So I'm calling up a very special guest who you might know from greatest hits like Gina. It's Gina. Come on, Gina. This actually works out really well because...
Take you to the prom.
Yeah, and it's prom. So you could take her to the prom tonight.
Here, have a seat. Welcome.
This is our dear friend Gina. She's one of the heartbeats of our little friend group.
Head cheerleader.
It's true. And she's going to be testing out her acting abilities today. So we have to be very excited, gentle. She's not SAG, so don't worry, we're not breaking any things here. And we're gonna jump into it. So you should also know, we don't know what's going on. I'm gonna read some panels. I'm gonna read dialogue. We have a ton of like notes in here. Some of them I'll read, some I won't, because we're always like detailing stuff out for the artist. And yeah, this is it.
I'm channeling Moira Rose today.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Herb Erblinger, wine. David! All right, so this is the Amory Worlds. No world for tomorrow.
Are you
I can't
ready?
even look at you. Yes, I can't look at you. Let's do this. Okay, page 1, panel 1. Close on the dusty outline of the creator's face and upper torso on the ground. It's a smudgy outline like wood after a long fire, all crumpled ash. Some areas are blown away, as we saw in the last issue of Good Apollo, issue 12, page 15. But the features are still mostly identifiable. Off panel. It's him! Panel 2, a wider shot as we now find ourselves on a pity prime, picking up where we left the remains of the creator and the 3 Red Army soldiers in Good Apollo. A sickle, also turned to ash, lies nearby the creator. A Red Army soldier, Soldier 1, is squatting beside the body, squinting to get a closer look. It has to be him. Panel 3, Soldier 1 addresses the others.
I hope your bags are packed to climb those ranks because we fucking did it, man.
Panel 4, a worm's eye is in the foreground of the dust form of the creator's charred face as it begins to swirl away at their feet, as a gust of wind blows the disintegrated form upward. The Red Army guards look up as their only remaining identification of what has taken place is carried away in the breeze.
We killed the crowing!
Page 2 and 3. Present day, Colleen. A double-page spread of the infected keywork, high in the sky of heaven's fence. Streaks of red have begun running across it, very faint at this point. Way off in the distance, we see House Atlantic to the right side. Think Sergio Leone. Again, Claudio. The heavens feel expansive, endless, and we see some planets at the keywork. Across the open planetary sky, something new has appeared. A seething white gash, almost like a tear in the very atmosphere, with nothing beyond it save for more blankness. The gash echoes something from the past, the black rainbow that appeared during the Mage Wars. Only this is different. Something in the order of things has changed. Note, this will mirror a double-page spread that happens in issue 10 with Claudio and House Atlantic. Title page, No World for Tomorrow. Ooh. Page 4, panel 1, a close view inside the white seething nothingness in the sky. Panel 2, pan out to find ourselves within House Atlantic in Ryan's chambers, where Willem Ryan is standing near the expansive bay window. Let's make this an angle of the room that we haven't been privy to before, beyond the concrete pillars and columns we've seen in the past. He's contemplative and watching the sky, speaking to himself. Ryan is no longer dressed for battle, but in something more regal, maybe something brand new. Ryan.
And history repeats itself.
Panel 3, tighter on his reflection in the glass, with the white gash just beyond it, almost as if his profile and the anomaly are facing off.
Only this. I think this vestige in the sky is not the same at all.
Page 5. A full page of Ryan standing under the seething glow of the streak in the sky, contemplating and speaking out loud to God. He stands tall, powerful in the room, looking up.
Ed, I was looking up.
You're doing
Sorry.
great. You're doing great. I thought you forgot what we were doing.
No, I was looking up. Dramatic pause.
Acting.
Admittedly, I doubted your existence even after the black rainbow appeared. That ashen streak could have likely been explained away with science. Still, I used it to my advantage, and then it disappeared. Offering my followers proof that you approved of my leadership in Heaven's Fence. Not that I required it, but this void is reason to believe that you were always watching. This divine white flag is a sign that you've finally given up fighting against my inevitable rule. It's as if you've accepted that my power, my potential, is far greater than yours.
Sometimes when we read these together, Claude and I, we'll be like, well, he's British now, or like you just never know what voice is gonna come out.
Can I go back and forth? Can I be British?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So I've sat in rooms before. Can I do a quick aside?
Yes.
I've sat in rooms before watching them talk to each other. And sometimes Claudio will be there and sometimes he won't. And it'll be like the most awkward, funniest thing. Hey babe, how are you? Would this character open up an imaginary drawer in a portal and pull out a bottle of whiskey? Does that sound right? And
No.
like they'll debate it. And it's
No
the best.
pencils in space.
No pencils or no pens? I think pencils in space are
Again,
okay.
that's a question we have to
But
get
not pens.
into.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Page 6.
Sorry, thank you.
This is another art note. Sometimes we'll panel things out and then we'll realize like we maybe don't have the best understanding of how this could look more interesting. So we'll just tell the artist, we did this for you, but just disregard it and do whatever you want.
This is how the broad strokes detail thing
This is how it happens. Because you want to give people space to breathe and do what they do. That's the whole point, right?
Like I was looking in the sky, I just needed a minute.
I
didn't
I'm sorry.
forget.
I shouldn't have given you immediate feedback.
You said no notes earlier when we practiced.
I did say no notes. Page 6, art note. If you have a way to make all of this exposition feel more exciting, please feel free to disregard the paneling suggestions. All we need to know is he has a copy of the book and he is reading it.
That he may or may not have pulled out of.
Panel 1, Ryan goes to a compartment in his quarters, hidden in a shelf or a wall. Panel 2, it opens to reveal a large bound copy of the Gansgrad. He would never let on to anyone that he had a copy of such blasphemy. Panel 3, Ryan holds the book, open, and begins to read from it. Wait, I have a prop.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Ryan, reading the Gansgrad.
And beware the coming of the crowing, for then the end of the worlds may be at hand. Woe betide all of those who live upon the fence. For the crowing's judgment, once done, cannot be undone. His will be the power and the passion, the fire and the ice.
Panel 4. A wide shot of the expansive room as Ryan continues reading, dwarfed by the enormity of his chambers.
But his arrival will not be unheralded. Instead, it will be presaged by the... I know I have notes. But let me start again. But his arrival will not be unheralded. Instead, it will be presaged by the coming of the Visuel. Yes. The Visuel being the harbinger.
I was like, do you want to read Ryan?
Wine.
He's got a lot of like,
We're breaking
hard
the
words to navigate. Harbinger.
Visuel. Okay. Not German.
You're doing great. I'm so
you.
proud of you.
The Visuel being the harbinger of the crowing, and thus the final judgment of God will appear at the time of the greatest battle. Reality itself will serve as fuel for the Visuel's energy.
Page 7, panel 1. Ryan continues to read, pacing around the room with the book in his hands. Note, maybe we combine this page across 6 and 7 with the last panel.
For a double page spread, AKA
implant.
And the prize, the winged soldiers of the Lord will prepare for God's judgment, and they shall be the word, and the Visuel will be the way, and the path to glory, and to the light.
Panel 2, Ryan stops reading for a moment, scoffing.
Ha! This deceitful tale couldn't have foreseen my annihilation of those winged witches. Some god you've proven to be.
Panel 3, he opens the book back up, continuing to read as he walks near the window, the keywork streaked with red.
Praise God in the highest. His name shall echo through eternity. Eternity. Through all expanse of heaven's fence, through the hollowed space of the willing well.
Page 8, panel 1. The white gash in the sky is clear in this panel as a pleased smile comes across Ryan's grotesque face.
It's so rude. Not that you wrote that. And I'm sitting right here. You want to change it real quick?
No, Ryan wouldn't want it changed. Embrace your character. You're never going to get that SAG invitation.
It's as if it were written in anticipation of my triumph. Well. I may have never felt your presence, but I must say, your absence is electrifying.
Panel 2, without warning, there is an alert at the door, sounding through the chamber. Breathe! Panel 3, a group of Red Army guards enter with an ambassador we've never seen before, and the 3-foot soldiers from page 1. Ryan looks at them, irritated they've entered into this revelatory moment, and with little notice.
I have to quickly hide this book first, because no one can see me
No one
reading
can
it.
see you.
How dare you enter these chambers without invitation, Cardinal?
I beg your grace, Lord Ryan, but I come with urgent information.
And where is the general to deliver it?
Forgive me. General Deftonwolf's hololink is offline. Page 9. A pity prime, close on legs and boots as an unknown person who we will learn is Mayo Deftonwolf. Because you guys are here on this journey with us. That's the note. Steps over the body of a dead Red Army soldier on the battlefield. And this news could not wait. Panel 2, pull out to reveal it is Mayo Deftonwolf.
Ta-da!
Walking through the battlefield in the thick of the forest, dividing the city of Colleen and the borders of House Atlantic. There are bodies scattered sporadically around him as he walks. Dragonflies flitter about. Smoke burns randomly at points through the trees behind him. His cybernetic eye is still blue. On the ground, civilians are being infected as they gasp for their last breaths, their souls raging from blue to red as they're stung. We want to see a healthy mix of Narrows, Rebels, and Red Army soldiers, referenced in previous books, keeping in mind that the Red Army are all vaccinated from the flies virus. Panel 3, our POV is from Mayo's cybernetic eye now. Art note. This is a good stop for a second because sometimes it is like almost impossible to figure out how to visually show a complex idea. So for example, in this moment, we know that now Mayo is Inferno, Mayferno, and he's got these two.
I thought it was Deft Inferno. It's not Deft Inferno.
No,
it's Mayferno. I didn't know.
Mayferno feels like. I mean, you guys can. It's for you to decide. But it's like, how do you show this duality of information now being transferred in a series of panels and keep it interesting and keep it consistent? So, this is our idea. Art note.
Are there any people who didn't get vaccinated from the flies on purpose because they didn't want to be vaccinated?
We're not answering this question right now, Gina.
This is not political. This is completely fictional. I'm just curious.
Well, if they didn't, they couldn't come on the cruise.
That's right.
So they wanted to go on this cruise.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just curious.
Art note. This is a Terminator-esque view. We get the full duality of his ocular programming with some components in blue to reflect his own Inferno information, and then some highlighted components and figures in red that belong to Mayo's memory files. We will see this view again in the future. Maybe running alongside the keywork, we can get a figure that tells us how much of it has been compromised by the virus. Back. Mayo is overlooking the clearing on the way to House Atlantic. He surveys the war-torn landscape before him. There are still soldiers loitering in the distance, some in sporadic combat, though many have been infected and the throes of war are mostly died down. Note, none of the living soldiers should be within range of spotting him in this panel, as he hasn't changed the color of his eye back to red, and that could bring info to Ryan. We see remnants of the undead army soldiers that Claudio conjured up in Good Apollo, randomly strewn around, battered and ashen once more from the fight. Rebooting. Online. Am I Mayo?
You have to do this because I can't talk to myself.
Merge backup file, Deft and Wolf. Override external ocular illumination setting blue. Replace red. Page 10. Panel 1. Large panel. On Mayo as the light glowing in his cybernetic eye turns red. His other eye is looking down on the ground, noticing something of interest. His hololink is sounding in the background. Bring bleep. Panel 2. Mayo's hand reaches down to grab a bomb from a dead soldier's belt. Bring bleep. Panel 3. He holds the bomb up in his hand, looking out into the distance. Bring bleep. Panel 4. He places it on his person for safekeeping as his hololink continues to go off. Bring bleep. Panel 5. Inset. As Mayo pushes a button on his collar, accessing the hololink. My lord. Page 11. A live image of Willem Ryan appears in his cyber view. Note, this can be a sort of augmented reality situation that comes in through his earpiece or whatever you think serves it best. He looks pissed off and cuts off Mayo before he can address him.
Maybe like a watch.
Could be. Yeah. You'll have to see.
Okay. I have just received an extraordinary report, General. Can you explain why you were not the one to relay this information to me?
Panel 2, Mayo stumbles over his words. My communication device shorted and demanded a buffer on the battlefield. I'm deeply disappointed that I couldn't tell you myself that after so many years, I finally put an end to the rebel general. Inferno is dead. Ryan cuts him off again. Suspicious.
Congratulations on doing your job. It's about time. But this news is far bigger than yours, General.
Page 12. Close on the joy in Ryan's eyes as he leans in. The glaring reflection makes him look even more sinister.
The crowing is dead.
Panel 2. Mayo is shocked by the surprising news of Claudio's death, but cannot let on that he is sad. We see surprise on his face. Maybe this panel is from an outside perspective as we see him speaking on the battlefield into the hololink. Oh, I had not been briefed on that news. Panel 3. Ryan continues.
I've sent Admiral Crom to confirm and to find the Visuel. She has something I require. With the crowing out of the way, it should be simple. This wonderful change of plans requires a change in ours. Come to me the instant you step foot in House Atlantic.
Page 13, panel 1. A frozen head stuck to the outside of a spacecraft windshield. Panel 2, our POV pulls out into the cockpit of the ship where 2 Red Army soldiers sit. watching woefully as the dismembered head smears further up the frosted glass. I hate coming out here. This whole planet makes my skin crawl.
Well, we got no choice, unless you're considering pissing off Archmaker. You want to be a science experiment today?
Panel 3, the first pilot accelerates, kicking the boosters into high gear. Panel 4, outside we see the Red Army transport ship. See Good Apollo, Chapter 8, page 16 for reference. Move eerily through the space. The atmosphere is completely littered with floating discarded bodies suspended in space, crowding the panel. It is terrifying. A small gray planet looms in the distance. Caption, Bree Hoff 2.
I have another question. How come all these side characters always come off kind of like incompetent?
They are.
Okay.
We can't make people like them because then we'll have to have like 7 spin-off comics.
They're just like henchmen, right?
Yeah, we gotta just like, make them as not exciting as possible.
Okay.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You feel good?
Yeah.
Okay, page 14, panel 1. The secondary pilot looks at him silently, knowing not to fight back. He's right. Panel 2, pilot 1 nods to the back of the ship.
That's what I thought. Now, would you stop crying and go check on that freight?
Panel 3, the first pilot is still carrying on in the background, irritated, talking to himself under his breath up front as the secondary pilot approaches the cockpit door. It's a futuristic slider, and it shoots open from the center.
I'm not trying to end up out there like those poor fuckers. Arms and heads and assholes floating around. No thanks.
We were talking about this line this morning when we were like,
That's a different kind of black hole.
it's like,
Yes! She gets it. Yeah, assholes floating everywhere.
free floating assholes floating in space. I don't know why I wrote
Like,
that.
if you close your eyes, you can picture it and then you regret it. But it's so picturable.
But we're keeping it, right?
No,
For the
you're
visual?
keeping it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Panel 4. We reveal the iRobots. Manny, Sizer, and Hack are restrained in the back of the ship in cryotubes to keep them subdued. Sizer is very roughed up from the fight on Apity Prime that we saw at the end of Good Apollo, chapter 12, page 9. And they are all the worse for wear. Manny is playing dead. The second pilot addresses them condescendingly. Almost there. Hope you heaps of trash are ready to meet your maker. Ooh. Page
Good.
15, panel 1. Manny's eyes are closed as pilot 2 knocks on the glass. Woof, this one's extra messed up. Panel 2, as soon as the pilot turns his back to return up front, Manny slyly cracks one of her eyes open to peek, clearly pissed. Panel 3, outside the ship is broken through the planet's atmosphere and approaches a sinister futuristic laboratory compound, a mechanical city as from the film Metropolis. Creaky, cold, artificial. It looks evil. Page 16, panel 1, Apity Prime. A filthy masculine hand puts a large stone on a stack of other stones. There is dirt under his nails, maybe some dried blood. Panel 2, a profile view as we pull out a bit to find Claudio kneeling before the stones. Get down?
Do I have to? No.
Stacking them. He's in the same overcoat and tee we saw him in at the end of Good Apollo, circles under his eyes, clearly exhausted. Panel 3, pulling out further to show Claudio and Chase side by side, building what appears to be a makeshift gravesite. They are back inside the cave from the end of Good Apollo where Ambelina was killed. There are remnants of the fight everywhere with walls, areas of wall that have been crumbled.
Thanks for giving me a hand. I couldn't leave her lying there like that.
She's nailing Page 17, panel 1, on Claudio looking up absently, almost as if he's trying not to cry.
Really?
Well,
I want her back so badly, Chase. She always had a plan, always a step ahead. She made me better. When we just met, I was just a scared kid with a nonstop, shitty attitude, living in a hole, avoiding real life.
panel 2, Chase looks up at him. trying to lighten the situation a bit. To be fair, you still have a shitty attitude most of the time. Panel 3 on Claudio and Chase as Claudio smirks, recognizing she's just trying to help him feel better.
Maybe 50%. An improvement, no less.
I'll give you that. Panel 4, Claudio sighs, resting his forehead on the stack of stones, defeated.
I don't know what to do without her, Chase. Now my nose is stuffed because of all the crying. So.
Yes, you do. If I'm sure of anything, it's that Ambelina would feel she failed if we let defeat and despair drive this plan. Page 18, panel 1. Chase looks him in the eyes, her hand under his chin. It's a sweet moment. This is really sweet. Almost, especially because she's so tiny next to him. Almost like a big brother and a very little sister.
And not the same size at all as the other person.
Definitely not two
Exact
6-foot
size.
women here. She would want you to take control of the situation, Claudio. And that is what you'll do. Panel 2, Claudio picks up another stone, placing it on the stack.
You're forgetting that the Creator doesn't want me to have any control. He's shown us what he's capable of. The fact stands that his power still supersedes mine.
Panel 3, a virus-carrying fly makes its way into the opening of the cave, close in our POV and flittering around Claudio and Chase in the distance. What if that wasn't a fact?
Come on, Chase. You've seen it yourself.
I know it doesn't make sense, but somehow I feel distant from him. Almost as if whatever connection we once had is completely severed. Panel 4, the fly buzzes close to Claudio and Chase now.
Not sure what that means for any of this. Maybe he's afraid you'll give me the upper hand, so he cuts you off.
Could be, but it does seem peculiar, don't you think?
Between the Creator and Willem Ryan, nothing's surprising anymore.
Page 19, panel 1. Claudio angrily smashes the fly as it tries to land on his face.
We know who'd really be smashing the fly in real life. Damn it! These things are everywhere. I can only imagine how far offward they've gone or how many he sent to other planets. Most of the universe can be infected at this point for all we know.
We could keep moving forward to House Atlantic. Panel 2, Claudio looks kind of hopeless as he's realizing there may not be a way to right this wrong.
Even if we kill Ryan, it doesn't save anyone who's been infected. And if he gets to live out eternity with all of those hostages.
Perhaps he has an antidote in the virus somewhere? Panel 3 on the 2, still working away.
I highly doubt that he would have developed one. He wants no stone left unturned when it comes to loyalty.
You're right, Ryan wouldn't risk that. Page 20, left. Oh, sometimes I accidentally said left because I write the pages which is a left or right page. I write it into the script and I don't know why I do that. But every artist we've ever worked with has been like, why the fuck does it say left and right on every single page? It's like, it's a quirk.
Control freak.
Yeah, control freak. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, baby.
Yes, detail.
Yeah.
The details.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Page 20, panel 1. I mean, I feel that you could have done these parts with us.
No, this is awesome. I love it.
I mean, they would have rathered you.
No, I don't think so.
Gina! He wasn't supposed to be here.
I see enough.
Just sub in.
Page 20, panel 1. Inset as Claudio freezes, stopping Chase with his hand on her arm. Wait.
Do you hear something?
Panel 2. Large panel as Claudio and Chase turn to see Gibney at the mouth of the cave, riding the decayed Narrows horse from the No World for Tomorrow album art. It appears to be late afternoon or dusk even. He has a personal arsenal of guns slung over his shoulders, things he looted from fallen soldiers on the battlefield. He's bloodied and war-torn, but mostly he is pissed off.
Follow the smell of bullshit, it'll lead you straight to the pen. How How could I have been so stupid to let you and that old bastard fool me into coming to this revolting planet again?
Page 21.
Planet, not again.
Not again.
Planet, sorry.
Page
Yes.
21, panel 1. Claudio and Chase are being surrounded by Narrows within the cave. The Narrows soldiers are bloodied, nasty, even worse for the wear than they naturally are. Panel 2, Gibney smirks as the duo are clearly very outnumbered now by his men. He points a sci-fi shotgun at Claudio.
Time to feed the farmer.
Boom! Panel 3, a thin panel, wide shot as multiple small explosions happen around the perimeter of the cave. The same thin panel, only now the walls have come down, clouding the panel with dust and broken clay. You gotta help me with this one, it's a big explosion. Page 22, panel 1, the dust begins to clear. Panel 2, close on Red Army soldiers filling in through the dust. And we see Claudio and Chase, as well as the Narrows, are now surrounded by Red Army soldiers who have effectively blown up the cave. It is a standoff with a whole lot of layers. The end. To be continued. It's like you and I just renewed our vows or something.
Our anniversary is coming up.
That's what I said.
Yep.
The end, to be continued. Get ready to
And
rumble
fiend.
in issue 2. And you guys should also buy the comic because, I mean, we did a great job. We really did, but I think it's going to be better.
And yes, don't remember this performance.
This
when
was
you're
like
reading.
being in our living room on a Tuesday night.
Just a Tuesday. Fair.
It's a regular Thursday.
Did we just make a podcast?
We just made a podcast. You know, I needed another project. I was like, man, I just feel like I have so much time. And then what can I do? Oh, a YouTube channel of short skits with my friend Gina.
Okay. If the people demand it.
We already have a song.
We do have a song. Which
Subscribe.
actually, I did think
Absolutely.
there'd be more of the song, I felt.
Well, Claude's got to save his voice so he can rock your
No, he
faces
can't
tonight.
sing. He can't sing.
Yeah. Last night he was undercover because he's trying to just be silent for a while. But he's doing a great job of being
Good
silent.
thing his looks make up for it, right?
Yeah. Are you out? I love you.
We love you.
You don't have any questions? You don't want to ask any questions? Okay. If you change your mind, come back. All right. Well, that's
All
it.
right, I'll
That's
go.
the first issue. And like I said, we have the new artist secured. We're
Stay,
moving.
Gina, stay.
We're
Don't leave.
cruising. I love you. Mwah. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really fun, and hopefully we'll have like more formal announcements on that as soon as we get cruising. You know, we don't want to be like it's coming out in a month, and then we do this to you again. So.
That's what I was just gonna say. So we can't share an actual date. Just
No,
coming
no.
soon.
It'll definitely be next year. Like,
Okay.
or hopefully the earlier end. We also want to get like 6 issues done before we start releasing so that if he's traveling or there's any issues, it comes out consistently. It's the concern. We're trying to be better. You know?
Do you envision it being a monthly, or is it gonna be a bi?
It'll be a monthly, but you know, in the past we've done it as a monthly. Like I don't know how artists and teams at like Marvel and DC do those monthly books and do them for years. Like it is a tremendous amount of work. The art is, I mean, you're talking about doing, you know, a page a day with like, and that's with no breaks. I mean, it's crazy how those guys work. So, you know, we try to build in mental health days for people if they need them and anticipate sort of like what space they'll need because a lot of our artists aren't working just on this. They're doing a couple books at a time. So, so we don't want to say it's a monthly and then it's like, well, once every 3 months you're going to get an issue. So we're kind of fine tuning that process.
Have you ever? Well, I'm sure you already have thought about it, but have you thought about pre-sales? You know, or doing it that way?
I think we generally do a pre-sale, like a subscription and things like that.
Right, yeah, like subscription, yeah.
That work out really well, and we'll do some incentive covers and things like that are cool. Single issues for me, I don't love them because they just get destroyed, but people do. So, yes, people do.
Yeah, I think that was a great reading.
Thank
by
you.
the way, I think we all really enjoyed it. I like the
was
sound
fun.
effects. I like the different voices.
Thank you. We're gonna work on it.
I don't know how I'm gonna wipe away the image of assholes floating through space from my mind now. Like, I mean, were they separated from the legs, or are their cheeks floating? I don't know. It's like I have questions. I don't know.
I honestly feel like you'd have to have like no butt cheeks for it.
Right. So it's just a little balloon knot just floating around in orbit. Okay, that's.
As I said, art is not my strong suit. The artist will figure it out.
Well, you made an impression. Absolutely.
Thank you. My mom will be so proud.
This is a great one-shot issue, right? You don't like doing just one-offs, but this is a good one. Everybody got one, right? Everybody got them? Okay. It's a hot item.
This is like a great example of a character that's just like, he's a great character. And so we wanted to give him a little bit more backstory without making it a 12-issue storyline. So, yeah.
You're gonna do some more like that? You got to.
These are really fun. These like one-off kind of backstory pieces are a lot of fun. I did not write this one. We worked with a writer on this one. We were drowning in life, and it worked out really well. It's an awesome book. So I'm hoping to do many more. It's easier when we're getting better at being able to like know when we can outsource something or work with an artist or work with a writer on something. If we have a good, clear outline. For so long, like it's just been Claude and I working on things, or before that him and finding writers that he really wanted to like stick with. But now we're like, okay, we can start to make those decisions and maybe open that world up a little bit, because you can't do it all. There's just not enough time to do all the things we want to do. So hopefully we'll do more of those.
Well, I think, again, like you said earlier, just because this universe has existed so long, I think now you all can kind of step back and you can really trust other people who have been following along with you and are really knowledgeable about everything. You can be like, no, I trust him. You understand what's going on here.
Totally. There's enough canon material that you can reference things and kind of get a feel, tonality, for who people are. So I feel a lot better about that. I think Claudio, is feeling good too. So.
Well, congratulations again on everything. No World for Tomorrow, sometime next year. Thank you again for being on the ship. Thank you for bringing the poetry book to everybody. Thanks to you and Claudio just for creating the Amory Wars and getting it out there and giving it to the people. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to you too, because you're amazing. This is like a very nerve-wracking space to be in, and I'm an extrovert. It's still scary, but you are like, we look forward to seeing you every year, and I'm so happy to have you. Yeah, it's great. You set it at ease. Yeah.
Happy to help. I'm happy to be here. I like hanging out with you all.
Me too.
This is great for a Thursday, right?
For sure. And I think we're gonna get sun.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
nice.
have a tan. No, I don't know. It will look like we've been on a cruise. I'm like, man, yeah. I guess it fits though in with like the sadness and despair.
Thinking, distraught waves crashing, assholes floating through space.
Next year, I'm going to interview you about your poetry book.
Done. Oh, thank you. All right, I'm working on it right now.
Yeah, you just wrote the first one.
I'm stuck now. That's it. That's all I have. But next year.
2 years. You have 2 years. So
2 years.
I'll check in. Yeah.
All right, done. Sold. All right, well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up once again. Happy Chonnye. Gina, the amazing voice mistress, and Chandra. Enjoy your day. It's prom night. Lots of stuff going on. See you all over the ship. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, happy prom.